Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So if you saw my video from last weekend, you will see that I was baking because I've been in a real baking mood lately. But that was just like I was super drunk, as you could clearly tell in the video, and I really just wanted chocolate chip cookies and I was like, oh, let's film it, like this will be fun. But I've really been wanting to bake something other than like brownies or chocolate chip cookies because it's like all I've been making recently. So today I might do both, so this might turn into 2 videos, but I think I'm gonna start with making like just a regular like yellow cake and then putting on top like strawberry mousse and then like putting it in the freezer, so it's kind of like an icebox cake. So I'm really excited, so let's get started on that. So literally my decision-making process for today's video, because it was between what I'm going to make and creme brulee, but my thought process was creme brulee it's simple, but there's a lot more steps to it. And I made creme brulee from scratch before, but it was literally like one time in culinary school, which was like probably 3 years ago at this point. So I'm like, okay, it's been a minute. I don't want to like, first of all, like just mess up in general, but then also be like filming it. I mean, if I was filming it and ended up messing up and like couldn't like save it, I probably just wouldn't upload the video. But I don't know, I'm like so tired right now, but I wanted to bake something, and it's Sunday, and I knew that if I didn't bake anything, then I would just end up making like a box mix of like brownies or cookies, both of which I have in my cabinet right now, but I probably am gonna make them during the week. So I don't know, I just knew I'd like regret it, because not that this is gonna take long, it's probably gonna take like an hour in total to do like the actual cake and then like the mousse for it, but I don't know, I'd be like too tired during the week to like do that because I'm lazy. So I just figured I'd bake now, so that's my decision-making process between what I'm making and the other option, which is creme brulee, which I probably am gonna make soon because I've really been wanting to make it because it's such like a fun thing to do, and creme brulee is really good, but I just feel like I'm gonna screw it up somehow because it's like difficult, and if you don't like do everything perfectly, like you could end up cooking the eggs. It's like a whole thing. So, and that terrifies me. I've never done that before though, because there are a lot of recipes that like you have to do that, like you take the eggs and then there's like hot cream involved, and if you add it too fast, like it like ends up cooking the eggs, and then you have like scrambled eggs, which like who wants that? I've never done that before, like in school, or even I remember one of my jobs where I worked, like I had to like temper like the mixture with like the eggs and stuff, and I never ended up like screwing it up and like turning anything into like scrambled eggs. So I feel like I'd probably do okay, especially because I'm like at my own house and I could kind of do it like, you know, take my time, and it's not like a super like fast-paced like environment or anything. So I'm sure I'd be fine, but I just don't want to have like that pressure right now. I just want to like have fun and make something simple that like literally is like impossible to screw up. So let's get started on the process. As you guys know, if you've watched one of my baking vlogs before, my favorite recipe website is All Recipes. So I just looked up a white cake mix on there. So it's a pretty basic recipe. So first, I've already got the oven preheated. It's getting preheated to 350, and then I have my pan that I'm going to use lightly greased. So we're going to get started mixing all the ingredients together. We take a half a stick of softened butter, beat that a little bit just to get it all separated, pour in just a cup of granulated sugar, mix those two together until they are combined. So just give that a couple seconds. So that looks pretty good. So then we add in our eggs one at a time, and there are 2 eggs. So 1, let it mix up a little, and 2. Then I just added 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, so we let that mix in there. Also, in between mixing, you should always scrape down the bowl and just make sure everything's incorporating nicely. So you just want to scrape it down. And then mix. So I just added the baking powder and the flour, and the baking powder was 1 3/4 teaspoons, and the flour was 1 1/2 cups. Sorry I didn't film that scene, just gets a little messy with all the flour involved. So now it's turning into like more of a dough, and I'm going to add 1/2 cup of milk, and that will turn it into more of like a more like of a liquid batter, like more of like right now it looks more like a cookie dough batter, but once I add the 1/2 cup of milk, it's gonna look more of like a cake batter. So I just poured in my 1/2 cup of milk, and I decided to stir it together by hand. I'm not really sure why, I just did. And you guys can definitely tell now from that last clip that it's like a lot more liquidy and like more of a cake batter. So I'm going to pour it in the pan and pop it in the oven. For a 9x9 cake pan, which is what I'm using, it says 30 to 40 minutes. So we will see you when the cake is done. Okay, so it has been probably a good hour to 2 hours. The cake came out of the oven. As you could see, I cut the top off because it had risen like more in the top, and I wanted it to be like as flat as possible, just because this is where like all the mousse is gonna go, and I want it to be like, you know, obviously like an even amount of like cake and mousse. So I just like flipped it out onto a cooling rack, cut the top off, let it sit there for like a few minutes to cool, but it's honestly like at room temperature now. So now I'm gonna make the strawberry mousse. I found a recipe for it on Pinterest, so this is really annoying that I don't have like a tripod or anything that I could use, because it's like, unless I had somebody else filming, you know, I could have like someone film and actually show you what I'm doing, but I'll kind of like explain what I'm gonna be doing and then like show you after it's done, I guess. So I bought a package of fresh strawberries, so I just rinsed them. So I'm gonna dry them off, cut the stems off, and like cut them in half, put some in the food processor with some sugar, puree them up. I'll probably put them all into like a bowl when they're done, and then you just take some heavy cream and whip it up. So I'm gonna whip that up in my KitchenAid mixer, and then fold in the strawberry puree mix until it's like all together, and then pretty much just like pour the mousse on top of this and stick it in the freezer. So I don't have exact measurements because the recipe I found wasn't for like a cake, it was literally for like strawberry mousse cups, and it was for 4. So I'm kind of just gonna like do my own thing. I'll probably do 2 cups of heavy cream, because the more you whip the cream, the more it thickens. So I feel like 2 cups will be good. And if it's not, I could always add more. Like I have a whole pint of heavy cream, so I'm not like worried. And then I'm gonna use all the strawberries, because why not? Like, just get the real strawberry flavor in there. So I'll show you what I'm up to. Okay, so I pureed the strawberries. So I got like almost a whole little container out of them. And then I made the whipped cream, and it's a decent amount. I definitely think it's going to be enough for like to cover the cake. So basically with these, I just like slice them, like chop the stems off, slice them in half, and then put in like a tablespoon or teaspoon of sugar. And I had to do 3 separate batches just because my food processor is so small, but it was like $10 at Walmart, so I'm not complaining. Even though I do want a bigger one, obviously. But I just don't have the money right now. The daily struggle. And then the whipped cream, like I said, I did 2 cups of heavy cream. And then I did probably about 2 or 3 tablespoons of sugar. And probably 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Just for flavor, because you can't just whip heavy cream, it's bland. So I'm going to fold in the strawberry puree and then cover the Okay guys, so this is the finished product. Excuse my messy sink. There is a little bit of mousse left over, so maybe next time I would do like a cup, maybe a cup and a half. I feel like a cup would be like the perfect amount probably, because there is still like a decent amount left over, and I put on a lot in here. So now I'm gonna freeze it, and then I don't know if it'll be done to have a piece later tonight. It might be tomorrow, but definitely gonna be enjoying this. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, so be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.